Proven Not Perfect community. This is Chantra Powell, your host. I hope that you are enjoying summertime. I hope that you are getting plenty of vitamin D and letting the sun beat on your backside. That is my hope for you. Today, we are going to enjoy Hot Girl Summer with a conversation that I had with one of my mini-me's in this world, Shanique Bonelli-Moore. She is a creative that has built a name for herself and a reputation for herself in the corporate global space, communications, marketing, and most recently, diversity, equity, inclusion. She's done it for some amazing companies touching many fields, from healthcare to the talent industry. She's pretty awesome, you guys. But today, she's going to share with us in the Proven Not Perfect lab what she's working on. I love this conversation because, like I say, it's so neat to share out loud what you're working on and allow the universe and allow all of the folks that are on assignment to contribute and to help and to make it happen. And that's what we're going to do today. Breathe in the good vibes, breathe and exhale and enjoy Proven Not Perfect conversation with Shanique Bonelli-Moore.
Hi, Shanique. How are you?
Hello, Chantra. It's so good to see you. It's so good to hear your voice.
Yes, it's good to see you too. My gosh, I'm getting vibes of going way back, girl.
Mm-hmm.
Way back circa, I'm going to say like 2004-ish vibes, around that time. Maybe even a little before then. Crazy.
Yeah, it was definitely when I was working at GE. Yeah. And I was at GE Healthcare based in Waukesha, and we were doing a lot of work together with the AAF, and you and Kim were definitely engaging with us and working through the AAF forum and all that stuff. So the symposium that was happening, and I remember us just doing a lot of work together, but I was so inclined to be around you and Kim, because you all just came with a wealth of information. And I was at that point just a sponge soaking up everything. And so certainly feels like a great full circle moment with, now 20 plus years later, and we're chatting and catching up.
When we first met, I had babies the age of your babies now, right? And it literally is a full circle moment, because I can remember when we met, I literally got mini-me vibes from you. And it's so funny, 20 years later, I feel mini-me vibes from you.
Yes. Well, I mean, the hair, we're both wearing green today. No, definitely. I think very like-minded in spirit and passion and ambitions. And so, yeah.
Yes. Wow. Well, so I'm so excited that we're going to spend some time today. I want to be intentional. I know you're a busy lady. You got a lot going on. But one of the things that has been on my mind is how many are managing the transitions that have occurred since 2020, right? With, it's no secret that more women have come out of the workforce. More women have made independent choices, because 2020 found us all as families almost sort of flat-footed when it came to the balance of work that happens in our home, which, was multiplied by the balance of work that happened outside of the home. We're all tired, girl. Some folks are just tired. And you in your role, your day job, right? Leading diversity, equity, and inclusion with a major corporation. I'm sure that you hear these things and you're working through them. First, let's go back circa 2020, right? What did that feel like? Here you are managing talent at a time when you're trying to build diverse talent, and diverse talent is saying, no, thank you, I'll trade that in.
Yeah, I mean, 2020 was certainly a pivotal moment in my career. I think it was the most fulfilling period professionally with what I was able to do along with my team and my company around driving DEI work. But it was also the most challenging and the most difficult moment in my life for many different reasons. One being the pandemic and other things. And so there were lots of sleepless nights. There were lots of staying awake, really just trying to understand and think through how do we work and certainly give our employees power to speak and to share, but also listen and to really act on what they shared. And so we found ourselves in places where, many folks, and I think this goes across the board when you look at different organizations, really took stock of what employees were talking about with respect to their experiences, specifically our Black colleagues and people of color. And so we really had a lot of focus around how do we build inclusion and equitable spaces within the four walls of a specific organization. And so we did a lot of great work there. And I just found myself just really working overtime, in overdrive, always on. The pandemic, the idea of working from home, there's no like, let me put up my things and get in the car and drive home. It was literally, let me just go to the kitchen, grab some tea, come back to the office, to the home office and work. And so it felt like I was working nonstop, and there was certainly a lot of work to do. And so really stayed plugged in, and maybe plugged in a bit too much.
Yeah. I mean, that's the story that so many of my friends talk about, right? Where for about a day, the notion of having the office at home was really exciting. But by the seventh day, I think everybody felt like they had been duped a little bit, right? Because now, we began to see how much you treasured that drive time, right? So now it's escaping. Where do you escape to?
I remember, usually my drive time is meant for thinking, but also all my podcasts. So I wasn't listening to my podcast and getting my, daily dose of information or entertainment. But yeah, working throughout the day. And for me, I find that I'm more productive. Well, I'm productive both at the home office and at the physical office. But, if you want to keep your head down and just like work through and do focus work, that's a great for being at home, because you're probably hopping on Zooms, and in between Zooms, you're just, doing the work. And in the office, you're doing the same thing, but then there's a social interaction component that just breaks the day up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Which I have grown to appreciate even more now that, I do both. But working at home was just, going forever and forever. And so I think at some point I really took stock in what I was doing and how it was impacting myself personally, and then also how it was impacting my family, right? Because, we were all home, but I think I was probably away, right? Physically there, but mentally focused on other things. And so really had a come to Jesus moment with myself as I thought about how can I really think about prioritizing me in a way that centered myself, that centered my family and others. And so really started to think about things that had been on my mind for a very long time. And so
Shanique, that is like so that's so bold, and that's so really unselfish of you to think about serving yourself to serve your family better, right? I think so many of us miss that fact. We kind of feel like if we're serving ourselves, we're taking away from the very limited time that we have for them. Right. So when you started thinking about this, what were the big things, the ideas that came to mind?
Well, I wouldn't say like I was, I'm that, I am that person who would put everything before myself, right? But I think I got to a breaking point where I was just very tired. I was dealing with personal loss within my family. And I think my husband one day told me, he's like, you need to stop. You need to just slow down. And he was thinking about just more so my mental well-being. So that I can pour into my kids. And so I thought to reflect on that some more, and really was craving a space where I could just be, like truly just be, and not have to focus on work, not have to focus on the responsibilities. And it was very hard to carve that space out for myself because I had all these different responsibilities. And I wondered to myself, how many other women are going through the same thing where, yes, they want to focus on themselves, but they just don't have the time, the bandwidth, and they're just not making that effort to make that space for themselves. And so this was something that I toyed with for many, many years. But I think it was just some moments, especially in 2021, that I said, okay, I need to do something about it. And I really, had an idea around how do we center women in a way that gives women the opportunity to really leave their capes at the door, right? So we wear the super mom cape, we wear the super employee cape, all the different capes that we wear.
Girl, I wrote a book about it. Proven not perfect. Just doing it all.
Exactly. So that is like a proof point right there. Yeah. And so what came out of, a lot of my thinking and reflection was this idea of a safe space for women where we can, again, leave the cape at the door, but really come and celebrate the power that comes along with women friendships, but also using the opportunity to connect with women and create these beautiful experiences that center women, but also allow them to indulge, to escape, to really be uplifted in really premium and luxury experiences, the things that we want that we oftentimes, can't get for
Make
ourselves.
time for.
It's about the time. Time is such is a currency that, oftentimes we, it
so
happens.
let me peel this back. So here we are in the middle of too much to do, right? And you can't even find enough space. Your husband's telling you to slow down for the family, and you come up with an idea to work on something even more.
yeah. And my husband I've had lots of pet projects, right? I don't want to even call this a pet project, but I'm always I'm an ideas person. So I always have, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do an Etsy store? Everything you named it, I've tried it. And so when I shared this with my husband, he's always supportive. But I think even in this moment, I think he was just like, this could be very big. This is amazing. This is great for you. You should pursue it. And so,
we got to tell everybody what this is. So this idea that we've kind of hinted at is actually alongside Shanique's big job. And it's intentionally to serve women who have a corporate executive background persona, or just women in general in corporate. Yeah.
Right. So honestly, for women in general, it doesn't come with a title that is attached to a day job, right? It's just this idea of, so the name of the women's lifestyle brand is called Girlfriends Retreat, and it's meant to center women and friendships and the extraordinary things that happen when women connect and be in community with one another. I think we have, depending on who we are, we have things that allow us or that prevent us from prioritizing ourselves, whether that's work, whether that's family, whether that's caring for family members, whether that is school, whatever that thing is, right? And we wanted to celebrate women and celebrate the friendships that we have. I think when I look at the friendships that I've formed, whether it's with my best friends from, growing up in high school, or college friends, or line sisters, or whomever the case may be, there's just a special energy that I get from them, that I get I get recharged and energized in ways that, it's hard to find somewhere else. And so I really wanted to recreate that for women, and bring women together to really, again, celebrate each other, talk about the things that bring us joy, talk about the things that maybe don't bring us too much joy, but do it in a way that is very experiential. And so coming together and just really indulging in beautiful things. We had a beautiful launch back in March, that signified the launch of the company. And it was a brunch where we brought together 40 women. Wow. And it was a beautiful community of women just engaging, talking about the things that they do, what they do to retreat. And it was a signal to the world that we were here, Girlfriends Retreat is here, and we wanted to learn from women and understand what they're looking for so that we can then work to create these experiences that provide that source of inspiration, that source of quiet time, that source of retreatness, retreating, that we often crave.
So then how did you decide who the invitations would go to? And then also, how did you decide where to start with approaching healing? Because as I've been really in this space post 2020 and thinking about pouring back in and replenishing myself, the fail safe used to be a massage, right? Or a massage, manicure, whatever. But the more, we got that wonderful opportunity to sit still, I started to realize that there's work to be done, right? And some of that work was just even sitting still. Some of it was conversational. Some of it was mental, physical, all the things, right? How did you decide in the launch you would create an experience that would resonate for the ladies and for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, for me, what I wanted to do initially was just invite my girlfriends. I live in LA now and have some girlfriends here, but I mean, my core group, they're back in the East Coast. And so I'm like, I will also say that March was very symbolic for many reasons. One, it was Women's History Month, so I really wanted to certainly lean into that. It was also my birthday. The day of the launch was my birthday. And given that 2 years, my birthday was just hijacked by COVID and the pandemic, really wanted to, celebrate myself, but celebrate other women. And so I started with looking at my friendship circles and inviting women there. I knew that because it was the launch, I could not invite everybody, but I really wanted to look within my friendship circles that are near and far, my mommy circles, my work circles. And so when you look at the room that was created, it was folks that I knew. And I also gave folks an opportunity to bring a girlfriend, right? So I wanted folks to come knowing at least one person in the room. And so we did that. We started with, 30. And then of course, I didn't expect everybody to say yes, yes. And then we kind of extended it to more and went up to 40.
Wow.
We got them together. And what I wanted to create, I wanted everyone to feel as if this event was created and curated for them specifically, not even individual or collectively, but you come in and you felt like you were at the center of the moment. And I think we created that in just the things that we lifted up. We had a beautiful MC who was a dear friend of mine who really took the women on a journey around really knowing that we are enough just as we are. This idea of magic, we are magic just because, not because of what we do, right? It's this idea of you just show up that way. And so it was a beautiful.
Shanique, I love that because I think, one of the things that many driven women get caught up in is this quest for all sorts of badges, right? Whether the badge is a see this, a company, a fortune that, whatever it is, right? We get caught up in these badges that at the end of the day, what do they mean, right? If you're not passionate, right? If you're not passionate, if you're not excited, enthusiastic, what does it mean? So I love that, right? So you kind of said, leave all those at the door and come in and let's really talk about the magic that you are. That's really cool.
Right. I mean, one of the first activities, we wanted to make it very interactive and, like I said, experiential, but also very informal because we wanted things to happen organically. And so one of the first things we did when you entered was the backdrop had like Post-its and it's like, how do you retreat? So we had women like take Post-its and say, I retreat by, going to the spa. I retreat by reading a book. I retreat by, chatting with my girlfriends in my group chat, so different ways. And so that was a way to kind of start the conversation. We centered around quotes around women talking about friendships and how beautiful they are. And I've been very fortunate to have people that have been in my life since I was 4, people who are women that are, day ones from 19 in the 80s to now. I have sorority sisters, especially my line sisters, who to this day very close with, friends from work that I've taken along for my GE days and other companies, friends that I've made through experiences, with my daughter at school, so I am, I like to look at myself as socially affluent, this idea of rich relationships with people. And I'm like, why can we can harness that and create more meaningful experiences for all women. And so we wanted to recreate that at the event, and we did. We heard from so many women just sharing testimonies about what they were feeling in the moment and how necessary this was for them in this moment and even in beyond. And so we have great plans to really work through and build and curate experiences for women. At the same time, you alluded to this earlier that I'm in the DEI space and working to really create and center diversity, equity, and inclusion. And what I want to do is work with brands and organizations that want to center women. So yes, we will be able to help you with your marketing efforts as you're looking to meet the needs of a specific consumer base in women. And we have that, but we also want to have a seat at the table. So when you're creating a new product or service, connect with us before you even get to that point where you're launching something. You want to be able to provide insights. We are women, we know what we want, we like, and all those things. And so we wanted to be sure that we are providing a business case for why this is also necessary, right?
Wow.
And really consulting with companies that really truly want to center women in ways in which we haven't been centered. I mean, when you think about the consumer purchasing power women have, we buy many, if not all, the household products, right? Or the things that we consume, where we are a great target. And I want to be able to leverage the women that we have within our network to support the brands and what they want to do. And we want
I got to ask you this though, because it sounds like two foundational things. One, on the one hand, is for the women and creating these experiences that women are drawn to and women really feel a retreat as they define it. And the other is a business that basically is in the business of women and helping other businesses to understand how to appeal more, how to care for more, how to nurture more, maybe in the context of their own corporate journey, if that's the case. Am I thinking about this in the two pathways the right way?
You are right. And so we want to be able to provide a service for women that they can directly feel. And so when you talk about the retreats, so our experiences are all mini retreats. What we're building up to next year is the launch of our first retreat. And it's going to be, a couple of days where women are going to get away with their girlfriends, and we're going to create this beautiful experience based on what the things that they're looking to do, right? And so it could be dinner, it can be we want to go to the spa, it could be new experiences, it could be hiking, it could be whatever that is. And so we're going to use the insights from the women that we have within our community to create something that is powerful, that is meaningful, and that's impactful.
Can I build some walls for the people that are trying to get a context? So it's not like, because, we're us humans, right? We want to say, oh, that's just like this XYZ women's organization that I've heard of. I've been to their conferences. Or, oh, this is just like blah, blah, blah. What I'm hearing you say is that your vision is that whatever this girlfriend group brings up, you curate and create. And it's going to be different. And it's not about business at all.
No, it's not about business at all. Although I think because you have brilliant and ambitious and powerful women together, that will be an output naturally, right? But that is not the goal. The goal is to retreat. The goal is to indulge. This is meant to be very light. This is meant to really prioritize rest, relaxation. And I think that is necessary. I think in order for us to be our best selves at home, at work, and everywhere else, we need this so that we can be that. To others and to ourselves. And so, yes, there are lots of organizations that I think lead into women. I think for us, we are looking to do that, but less from a professional development standpoint. I'm saying you are already developed. You need no professional development here. You need rest. You need to retreat. You need to relax. Again, like I said, when you get great people together, naturally people are going to network and connect. And so I imagine there's some type of business that will happen, but that is just a result of the output versus the goal and the intention.
It's like how the men do it on the golf course, right? I mean, for years, those of us that have done the corporate gig, right? On the golf course, lots of deals happen, and in particular in the men's room that we don't go to. Okay.
So that's what the retreats will be. Mm-hmm.
Now these we can look out for probably, you said, in 2023, early 2023?
Yes, 2023. We are doing experiences. So we did our brunch. We're doing an experience later in June that we are close to finalizing, and I will certainly announce it on our social channels, on the website. And we're doing some things in the fall. We're based in LA right now, and so they're very LA specific, but in our launch, we've gotten some really good interest about starting chapters. And so we're exploring, like we actually heard from someone in the Bahamas wanting to start a chapter. We heard of someone in New Jersey wanting to start a chapter. And so I think that could be a 2.0 as we look to grow and develop. How could we extend the Girlfriends Retreat beyond just where I am, right? There is a formula that we can utilize that can then recreate Girlfriends Retreat anywhere you are.
I love it. Wow, that's super awesome. And all the while, that parallel process, then the business mind that you are, you're gathering information, you're
Mhm.
learning how she likes to retreat, you're learning who she wants to retreat with, you're learning where she wants to retreat, and you're collecting that in the center, becoming really, really smart about her and the notion of care and nurture, which can really partner well on the brand building side
Mhm.
with corporate interests that way too.
For
Yeah.
sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. So what is the thing that you think will call people to really engage in this? Like, what do you think will be? What's that one thing that you think you'll offer that people are kind of like, this is good?
Sure. I mean, I think, we are giving folks permission to just be who they are. We're giving folks
Yeah.
permission to say, you know what? Yes, I'm ambitious. Yes, I have all these things going on. Yes, I want to be super mom and I want to do all these things, but I also need time for myself. And so and because for me, it's even hard to create. So it's hard to create that space for myself to retreat. Right. And so
Yes.
knowing that, I want to make it easier for women to do it. So if I created a space, they will come, right? And so
Yes.
that is what I'm hoping to do, and to also practice what I preach, right? It's very hard to get away from your responsibilities, even if it's just a few moments. But I think it's necessary, and I think I really want to center women and center this idea of rest, retreating. It's something that we don't talk about a lot. It's something that we need, and it's necessary. And I want to be able to provide that for women. And just having seen women at the launch and how they felt and what they shared and what they came up to me after with, and how many people responded to our social around, I want to be involved in this. I want to do this. I want to be a part of it. Certainly signals to me that we are doing something that, one, there's a lot of white space for, there's a big need for, and it's necessary, and people are resonating with it. So really excited to see what happens in the next few months. And then of course, in the years to come.
Well, Shanique, I'm going to tell you this. We got to put a pin on this because I know you have busy things going on, but this is one that we need to follow, right? It's Girlfriends Retreat,
Yeah.
Girlfriends Retreat. You are on social, Instagram. I know that I already have signed up and received my emails and my surveys. So I'm already giving some feedback into the system. I'm rooting for you. You're brilliant in how you not only think in the context of the box, in a corporate sense, but you also think outside of the box. And you're fearless in being willing to do that, right? When I wrote the book, Proven Not Perfect, I put forward about 7 truths that have worked for me. I'd love to get your take. When you say courage, what does that mean to you?
I think it's about being unapologetic about who you are. I think it's about really owning and living up to who you are and who you want to be and who you are already, and being able to step into that space. I think it's about believing in yourself, and this idea of a mustard seed of faith, and just stepping out on that faith and knowing that because this is something that you've thought of, it is going to work and it's going to be brilliant, and just really betting on yourself. I look
Oh
at
my God. Love
as
that.
I say, to me, it's my bet on myself, right? It is
Yes.
the true testament of centering me, making space in my busy day, full-time job, teaching on the side, 2 young kids. It's my way of carving out time for myself. And this is something that I've been very excited and passionate about. I'm finding myself just spending so many hours at night working on it, and just getting so excited and so energized by the ideas that I have, by spreading and talking to friends and talking to other women who are like, I believe in this. I want to be a part of this. How can I help? I've had so many people reach out to me saying, hey, I want to be a part of this. I have a service, but I think that we can partner together. And so
I told you that.
Yeah. Yes, you did. I mean, after the launch, I probably took about a dozen phone calls from people just saying, hey, how can I be involved?
How do I
can I
help you?
Yeah, because I think people certainly want to help, but they also, because they see the value, it's like you are able to see yourself. You are the target, right? Mm-hmm. And so to be able to identify it and be seen in it, and to know that it's something that you want, whether you actually make time for yourself or not, because for some it'll be like, oh, I make time for myself all the time, and so this will just be another opportunity. For others, it's just like, this is my only getaway. And with COVID, girl trips have ceased. For me, I used to go on girl trips every year with my girlfriends, and after we had kids, like, the trip stopped, not because we didn't want to, we just didn't have, the time. And I remember I resumed a girls trip, my first girls trip after my daughter. And it was in 2017. And I think it was the last trip we had, it was maybe 2014 or 13 or 14, and so, yeah, so it's a long time coming. This is a true brain child that I've been thinking about and reflecting on for the longest. And there's something that just sparked last year and said, the time is now. And so
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to define courage as it relates to this conversation and you, as being willing to ideate out loud. Mm-hmm. Girl, that's what you're doing, right? Like, so often we have a great idea and we need to, in our lab, get it perfect and ready for show before we allow, quite frankly, the world of ideas to collide, right? And that's what you just said. And I think it could be a lesson to so many, right? When we have that big idea, that spark, I think you called it, taking that spark and putting it in a closet to go back to by yourself and perfect really just means you're probably going to burn up the curtains, right? But if you take that spark and you put it in like a pot in the park and you let people see the spark, people are going to come by and be like, oh, that's a spark. What is it? And before you know it, the fuel starts happening and the flame becomes so much more. That's what you're doing. Courage is ideating out loud, and that's what you're doing. I'm so, so proud of you. I can't wait to be a part of this with you and like the other 100 other people that are going to do it. And, we just want to see this because I think we all need it. Mm-hmm. We all need it. The conversation coming out of 2020, the changing workforce, the great retreat from work and whatever they call it. I don't even know, right?
Great resignation, or
resignation.
As I look at it, the great reevaluation, right? I think Ariana. Well, that was Ariana Huffington. I think she called it great reevaluation.
But she's right, and that's why I couldn't even think of the other one, because it's not a great resignation. People didn't just put down all of the wonderful medals that they've earned, right? They have them. It's just reevaluating how they want to position those medals to do what's most important to them. And what I believe your retreat can do is support that. On fire for you. The spark is about to catch more. Super excited that you would share this with the Proven Not Perfect community. And I'm sure that some folks will go to your website, they will go to your social, and they will sign up for the email. And who knows, we all might have our first little Proven Not Perfect meetup at the girls' retreat. Girlfriend retreat, yes, 2023.
Yes. So quickly, I just want to share socials. So obviously our website, www.girlfriendsretreat.com. We have a mailing list. Please opt in. There you'll get all our information on experiences, ways to become involved, etc. And social, you can find us on social. So Instagram at Girlfriends Retreat, TikTok at Girlfriends Retreat. And we also have a LinkedIn group, Girlfriends Retreat. So we hope to see you there. We hope that you join our community and bring a friend.
Awesome. So good to see you. Thank you, Shanique.
Thank you, Chandra. It's so good to catch up. And I am certain that within the next year, you and I will be connecting in person in real life.
Oh, girl, we're going to be at the retreat.
Yes, exactly. There you go. We're manifesting.
Yes, we are. See you soon.
Thank you.